Hey guys, welcome back to another Friday Reads. Should we start calling these episodes? I'm not really sure. Today's video is going to be a big book haul, maybe the biggest one that I will ever do. These are books that I've gathered up over the last few months, most of which I just got last weekend at Value Village, but then I just tossed in all the other books I bought over the last few months as well, just to round things out and have a little bit more to talk about. A lot of these are really popular books you've seen here on YouTube, maybe from the last year or so, some from a long time ago that, as I keep mentioning, I am like behind on the times when it comes to reading, because during my university degree, I did not get a lot of recreational reading done, as well as, being a young mom. If you're a mom and when your kids are really small, it's very hard to read as much as maybe you would like, or you're just preoccupied with other things. So if a lot of these books are really familiar, that's why if I don't talk about them a lot, I either don't know a lot about them or they are talked about to death. And today is actually Friday as I'm filming this. I've been trying to film it for the last 3 days and it just hasn't happened. So I'm going to try and keep it short and edit and upload it today for you guys. This is my bag of books. There's quite a bit in here. I'm just going to reach in at random. These are the books that are not included in my Value Village haul, I guess. First, I have a little sticky note, and these have the 2 titles of books I've bought on my Kindle app on my phone. I bought ebooks of them. The first is Up to I Do by Samantha March, which I have mentioned a few times on my channel so far. I did buy it a while ago. I'm a little over halfway through. It's a book that I read when it's dark and we're driving. I like to read on my phone. Otherwise, I am not really the biggest fan of reading on my phone. I think I could get into ebooks a little bit more if I had a proper e-reader, but I don't know, my phone is small and I don't really like it. So I read ebooks when Jeremy's driving and it's dark outside. So I have that one. It's about a hotel heiress. Like, she's from a very wealthy family and she's planning her wedding, and I thought if there's ever a time that I'm going to be reading a book surrounding a wedding, it would be leading up to mine, which is in 6 weeks. The second ebook I bought was The Poppy War by, is it R.J. Kuang, Kuang? I'm sorry, I know I'm probably pronouncing that really poorly. This is a brand new fantasy book that everyone seems to be raving about, and I got an email, I saw a tweet by Beauty with Emily Fox. She also has a booktube channel, Books with Emily Fox, and she tweeted that it was on for a really good deal through Amazon for my Kindle, my phone, you know what I mean, for like $3. It was like $2.99 or something. So I jumped on it and I got that one as well. I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to reading it, but so far it has rave reviews. I don't know anything specific about it, just that it is a new fantasy. The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. My mom actually gave this to me. She DNF'd it. She really hated it. She really hates the main character, who is an alcoholic. So she didn't want to read it anymore. And I know going into this that all of the characters are unlikable, and I too struggle reading books like that sometimes. But I haven't watched the movie and I really want to read the book before I do. This is kind of a mystery, and like I said, the main character is an alcoholic and she goes on the train and she looks at the window and she, you notice things that happen at the same time every day. I used to take the bus to and from school, and you'd still see the same people, you know, whether they be driving their cars, you'd be stuck in traffic together, same people on the bus. You can kind of like pick up on the everyday happenings around the city. And then she noticed that she thinks a girl is missing. So I'm excited to get to that probably this fall. These two books I got out of my community book exchange. We have this little like hut quite a ways down the road actually from me. And it's a like leave a book, take a book type of situation. I mostly use it for the kids. There really is rarely anything that I am interested in personally, but these two I did pick up. I got this pretty soon after we moved in here, so like late spring. There's like some coffee or something on it, and this is the Nanny Diaries by Emma McLaughlin and Nicola Kraus. And this is just like a light fluffy chick lit type of book. It's about a girl struggling to graduate from NYU and afford her microscopic studio apartment, so she takes up a nannying position, but you know, there's some drama and stuff with the family that she's nannying for. I thought I would get to it this summer, but I haven't yet, just especially I find with the Owls readathon that I'm currently participating in. I'm reading a lot of like really thick mostly fantasy books, and I couldn't fit this book in, but probably this fall I might try and get to it just to break up all the heavy fantasy stuff that I've been reading lately. Last week I found this. This is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. They must have bought it when Target was in Canada. Target left us, unfortunately, but it does have a 20% off Target sticker on. This was made into a TV show, and everyone says how great the TV show is. It says it's a Hulu original, and I don't have Hulu, so maybe I can, you know, buy it on Amazon or something. I'm not really sure. I don't know that much about it, just that it's an historical fiction. It seems to have a lot of really hard-hitting topic. It says, funny, unexpected, horrifying, and altogether convincing. The Handmaid's Tale is a once scathing satire, dire warning, and a tour de force. So I'm excited to read this. The rest of these books I bought from Valley Village last week. I just went in there and basically picked up anything that I had heard of and was interested in reading. Obviously, I wouldn't pick up things that I really wasn't interested in reading. I'm going to start with this one. This is Game of Thrones, the first one in the Song of Ice and Fire. This is in the same editions that the rest of the series I have is in. And I let my brother borrow the first one. He wanted to read it, and then he lost it. He said he left it at my aunt's house, and then my aunt has moved twice since then, and nobody knows where it is. So it was only like $3 maybe to pick it up, and this edition has like a poorly cut couple of pages here. Like it was bent in and then cut like that. So I might have to trim that because that is going to drive me bonkers. But the text and stuff is still fine on the inside. So I bought this to just put into my box set, and like I said, it's the same size as the other ones I have, so it should fit in there fine. But I couldn't stand to have like the complete series without the first one. Alright, now I'm just going to start reaching in here. Next up I have Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Again, this is a movie that I have not yet seen, and I'm someone who, if I'm really interested in the premise of a movie or anything like that and there is a book, I will read it. If I'm just looking to watch a movie that's like for a guilty pleasure that's based on a book, then I won't bother. But this is another like mystery thriller type of book. I think I've been spoiled on it. I won't mention what the potential spoiler is because this was such a popular movie. I'm pretty sure I know what happens, but I want to read the book instead. And this is kind of along the same veins as A Girl on the Train. So these are going to be good fall reads for me, I think. Next up, I got The Martian by Andy Weir. I picked this up from the library. This was on my summer TBR and I just never got to it. And there was a ton of editions at my Value Village, my local Value Village. And this one was one of the cheaper ones. So I just decided to pick it up. It is obviously a science fiction. I have not seen the movie yet. The premise really intrigues me, and everyone that I know that has read this really enjoyed it. It is about a man who gets stranded on Mars. There's this big storm and he's there for work. They must be some kind of engineers or something that are sent up there. And then they all leave him there by accident and he has to survive on Mars with what he has for many years. Next up, I picked up The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This seems to be a love it or hate it kind of book. Or maybe a love it or feel like it's overhyped. I'm not really sure. I don't know that much about it, just that it is a YA fantasy type of novel. I really like how heavy this feels for being a paperback. That sounds weird, but it has some good weight to it. This seems to be about a circus that just appears in different towns. So obviously there is magic to it, and there is a fierce competition between two young magicians, Celia and Marco. And it's a high stakes competition where you basically fight to the death. I really don't know, again, that much about it. I just really like going into my books not knowing too much, because if you know too many pieces of the puzzle, it's really easy to connect all the dots right to the beginning and see the ending coming from a mile away. So I try not to do that. Next up, I have The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. This seems to be a really popular adult fantasy book, and I was surprised to see it. I haven't heard anybody talk about it recently in like more recent videos that I am watching, but in a lot of people's videos that I watch, I can see it on their bookshelves. You know how a lot of booktubers film in front of their bookcases and they usually have a lot of them? I always see this spine. So when I saw it sitting on the shelf at Valley Village, I decided to just grab it. And I got this for I think $7. And it is set in the future. The year is 2059. It seems to be about a girl named Paige Mahoney who has some sort of special powers, which is illegal. And I don't know if it's the government that wants to try and control her or what, but I'm really intrigued by the premise of this. It is quite a hefty book. How many pages are in here? 452. I mean, that's a big book, but it's not as big as I think it felt like, probably because of the hardcover. I love the cover of this as well. Next up, I have The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. And I literally have absolutely no idea what this is about, but I was just re-watching Books and Lala's Closet Unhaul series. I found that super intriguing and it actually inspired me to pull out all the oldest books that I had sitting on my bookshelf that I never read, which will be a video coming up. I have them all sitting over there. And what she was doing was going back to her past hauls from years prior, and whatever books she had bought and never read, she either had to read them that month or pass them along, because there's no point in keeping books indefinitely. And this was one of the books that she had kept for 2 or 3 years and had never read, and when she finally read it, she said it was amazing. This seems to be a mystery kind of thriller book. It follows a boy when he's young and into adulthood, from I gather, who survived an accident that killed his mother and then is abandoned by his father either after or before, I'm not really sure. And he goes to live with a wealthy family, and it says, as an adult, he moves silkily between the drawing rooms of the rich and dusty labyrinth of an antique store where he works. And he seems to be pulled into the criminal underworld. So I'm not really sure what the actual plot of the book is, but Kayla, Books and Lala, said it was really amazing and that she wished she read it sooner. I'm stumbling over my words, I'm sorry. Okay, we're almost done. Next, I picked up The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This is a fantasy novel set in a world that is divided by blood. So the reds are considered the more low end of society, and then the silvers seem to have supernatural abilities, making them nearly gods. The main character, Mare, seems to discover that she has a power of her own, which she shouldn't, because she is part of the Reds, or, you know, part of the society that's not supposed to have any magic, but she does. So I'm excited to read this. The last two books that I bought are actually for Max. These are middle grade books, and they're from the series of Unfortunate Events series. He has 1 and 9, strangely enough. Those are the books that I had when I was a kid, and I don't even remember ever reading them because I always want to read things in order, so I'm not sure how I acquired the 9th one. But I saw these two at Value Village. This is 2 and 5. 2 is The Reptile Room, and 5 is The Austere Academy. I think he will really enjoy these books. He likes the series that is on Netflix. And he is just starting to read a little bit of like a more difficult level. He's definitely not here yet, but he's creeping up onto the like magical treehouse level of reading. So I'm just trying to get him some, you know, late elementary or middle grade chapter books for when he's ready. He has a few now, but I saw these and thought I'd pick them up. I would love to have the full series, and these again were $2.99. So those are all the books I've picked up over the summer for the most part. I'm sorry I don't have a lot of detail on a lot of these books, but that's just how I prefer to go into my reading, especially when things are not super hyped up. Maybe currently, they could have been in the past and I just don't know about them yet. Let me know in the comments which books you think I should get to ASAP, and I will try and include them in either my September or October TBR. We'll see how much reading I can get done leading up to the wedding. The only book that I have here that I've read so far is, of course, Game of Thrones, because I just needed to put that back on my shelf. I couldn't stand seeing, it wasn't a gap on my shelf, but you know what I mean, like I didn't have the whole series anymore. If you enjoyed my first ever book haul, please be sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!